Hey class, so we are picking up where we left off last week's assignment. This assignment we're working on drawing or modeling the second floor plan of our Revit model. This is where we left off with our first floor plan from last week. If we go to our second floor view, double-clicking that in the project browser, this is what we see. We see an underlay of the first floor plan with the stair that does come up to the second floor. And we see this because, again, we are using the architecture template, and in the template the second floor is set up so that its underlay is by default the first floor. And if we go to our 3D view, we can see again where we left off. I forgot in this view, as always, I don't like to see these, so I'm going to hide in view by category and turn those levels off. Now, in some of my labs, we set the upper level to be top of wall. I did not do that in the video tutorial, so I'm going to do that now. Some of you may have already done this. If I go to a elevation view, you can see that level 4. I want to rename this in this view to be top T period O period W period, all caps, top of wall, and I am not going to rename the corresponding view. And then I'll set this to my top of wall dimension, which is 18'6". That is basically the top of the top plate on the second floor. I already did rename the view level in this tutorial roof. So this level is called top of wall, but the plan view that it represents is going to be the roof plan. And we're going to draw the roof plan as well this week. So my first order of business, I'm actually going to the 3D view for this. We could draw walls on the second floor that go from the first floor to the second floor and basically draw a stack of walls on top of these. However, that's not typically how we would work in a residential project in Revit. Typically, a wall will go from the bottom all the way to the top. So what we're going to do is select the walls. Now, here's an issue with my model I just noticed. You can see that the siding is on the interior face of these walls. So these walls are backwards. So that's a problem. Let's address it. Let's go to the first floor. Now, the walls are in the correct locations. This is 9'10" and this is 3'4". The problem is, you see the flip button. If I flip this, do you see how the wall moves? I can't simply flip this because it's going to flip it using the exterior wall face location line. So what I want to do, you may come across a situation, it happens. You will select these two walls that are backwards. You change the location line to center line, and we're only going to do that temporarily. Then we can select these, and when we flip them using the flip button, you could also press spacebar. That does the same thing. It does not move them. It flips them along the center line, so they stay in place. Now we can simply select them, go back, and change their location line to finish face exterior. So now that we've fixed that issue, let's make sure all of our walls are correct. Now we can select the walls that need to go up to the second floor. So I'm using my selection tool and I'm holding Control. And you'll notice, actually, this wall I do not want. I want these walls. This wall, this bump out, does not go to the second floor, and because of that, I will draw a wall on the second floor that connects these two pieces. So all we have to do is come over now to our Properties palette, come to our Constraints, and change our top constraint to be that top of wall. Hit Apply, and now we have those walls going up to the second floor. Now what we're going to do is go to the second floor, and you can see those walls are now visible and I can edit them on this floor. Now I'm going to go to wall, change my type back to my exterior wall type, exterior wood siding, continuous insulation on 2x6 wood stud. And now I'm going to draw that wall, paying close attention to my constraints. The base constraint is second floor, top constraint up to level top of wall, and I'm going to draw that wall from here to here. Because again, this piece here is only on the first floor, and if I go to my 3D view, now I have that. Now, as always, if you remember how we drew the first floor, the next thing I'm going to do is the floor itself. So I'm going to go to the second floor elevation. And for now, I'm going to turn off my underlay because it's a little distracting to create the floor. Come over here to underlay. You'll find that you turn your underlay on and off relatively often. So now I'm going to choose floor. Again, double check my type. I'm going to use the same floor that I used for the first floor, which was wood joist 12-inch wood finish. I'm going to build it exactly the same way. I'm going to create a boundary line by picking walls. I'm going to extend those walls into the core. And again, I want to make sure that I hover over the exterior side of my wall when I click the first time so that it chooses that outside core. Now, I didn't change my detail level to make sure that this lines up because I know it's going to the right place. I know it's going to the core, the exterior core. I could actually change that in the middle of this, and you can see that indeed my pink line is on the face of my stud. I'm going to just change that back to coarse for now. Now, we have a stair to think about. So, we can come in. I did choose these walls, but I'm going to come back and edit what I need to. That way, if this wall moves, it'll move this section of the floor. So I'm going to come back up to my draw menu and pick line. And then I'm simply going to draw a line around my stair opening. And now I can clean this corner up. I use the trim tool a lot. That's here. It's actually trim extend to corner. This works a lot like fillet in AutoCAD, fillet with a 0 radius. So if you click this button, I can click this line, and it automatically trims them to a 90-degree corner. I can do the same here. This line I don't need anymore. So now I have the space cut out for my stair. I can check a few more things just before I hit the green check mark that I do have this place at the second floor with a 0 offset. Hit the green check mark. When this comes up, say no. When this comes up, the floor roof overlaps the highlighted walls. Would you like to join geometry and cut the overlapping volume out of the wall? Say yes. That's going to help us later when we create a wall section. You'll also notice that comparatively to the first floor, the surface pattern is running the opposite way. Actually, I'm not sure why it's showing that the opposite way. The span direction, when I go back into edit this floor, is going this way, which is the correct direction. I'm going to ignore that for now, especially since the first thing we want to do once we draw the floor is turn that surface pattern off. So again, I can click on this floor, and to click the floor and select it by the face, I have this button turned on, select elements by face button. So that's this button here. I have that turned on. I can select the floor, right click, override graphics in view by element, and uncheck the foreground surface pattern visibility. Hit OK, and I don't see it. I'm also going to fix this down arrow. I do not like where the default placement of the down text, and I place that sort of centered up I know at some point it's going to clip that off. Let's pull that down so it doesn't clip that, centered on the down arrow. So again, I check my 3D view, and I can see that my floor is in place. Now, there's a minor problem. The interior walls on the first floor go up through the floor. And that's the thing I told it to ignore. I said, no, I do not want to attach these walls to the floor, but I didn't want to do that because it will also attach the first floor, and that'll create a gap, or sorry, our exterior walls, I should say, not our first floor. That would create a gap at our exterior wall. So we don't want to do that to all things, and that's why I always suggest, if Revit is trying to do something automatically, say no, because it might do something that you don't expect. So in this case, to fix this, what we're going to do is select the interior walls, and I can do that in this view. I could also go to the first floor and select an interior wall, and then right click, select all instances. In this case, I could do an entire project, and I can say attach top base. Now go to a 3D view, click the floor. If this comes up, say detach targets, and you can see now that the floors do not go up through into the floor. Now I can go to my second floor. I'm going to turn this off for a second. Now, I want to draw my interior walls. Again, many of our interior walls are aligned to the walls below, so you'll find me going back to the underlay, turning on the first floor underlay so that I can see those interior walls again. Go to my wall, find my interior wall that I created, my wall type, my interior 4.5 partition, and I can simply trace these walls from below using that center line, because that is my location line for my interior walls. Now I know this wall goes all the way across the building. This wall, actually there's two pieces of wall here. You may have to look at your drawing, look at the second floor deliverable to figure out where all of these walls are. But again, a lot of these line up. This wall comes up let's see, I think that's about all that comes up, so I'm going to stop there for now, turn my underlay off again. I have a few minor issues. I didn't draw that wall. I'll again drag it to the exterior wall. It should automatically clean up. Oh, I forgot this middle wall here. So I'm going to go back, draw my wall. Now that one I can actually see because the floor's cut out. My walls are cleaned up and ready for me to do the rest of my walls. So I'll stop there and I'll pick up here in the next video.